The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Now then, listen. I know, but Gareth, if you listen carefully, listen, we've got aeroplanes, we've got birds,
got police siren. There was some activity up the road when I pulled up.
Yeah. Was there? That's because
thought they were
people
after
came
you.
to find us. Yeah. But
It's very autumnal, isn't it?
we're
It's
outside.
what, 3 weeks since we last recorded?
It is, and quite a lot has changed since last time you came, Gareth. But I just want to get you to turn around, Elaine, and look at the colour that's on those blueberry bushes. Look
It's not
at
blue.
No,
they're
but the
purple.
leaves on a blueberry bush,
Yeah.
they're bright red at the
Yeah.
moment, and I think they're just worth it for the foliage
Well, what about your
itself.
asparagus bed?
Oh.
That, have you seen that, Gareth? I suppose you walked through with your eyes shut. Oh, no, you came up the other way, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, I came up that way.
If you come to the top of the back passage,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound right, does it? But anyway.
It's very medical.
Yes.
But
The
when
doctor
you
will see you
do,
now.
Yeah.
It's just a forest. It looks like a forest, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The ferns.
Yeah.
All going through the autumn colours.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like us to be so poetic at the start of one of our podcasts.
No. And I mean, it's quite mild out for saying it's autumn, but it is, we are slowing down.
Are we?
No, well, we're not slowing down, but
Right.
the
It
Doesn't
season,
sound like you two, I think, to be
the
fair.
season's slowing down, but actually we're quite busy, aren't we? So.
Where have we been? Hang
on a minute, you've not done the
Okay,
introduction
no.
first,
Okay, then.
yeah.
So it's season 2, episode 39.
The penultimate.
And, penultimate
Oh.
of this year. Thank you very much, Gareth. And I'm Elaine.
And I'm Julia.
And this is...
the Potty
No,
Plotters.
that's Gareth.
Oh.
That's his bit.
I'm not the Potty Plotters Plotcast podcast.
No,
You're not.
That's
Well, you
Gareth.
are actually, Gareth. Truth was but known.
Okay.
You make it happen.
Well, if you'd like to get in touch with us, you've got very little chance for this season. However, we will be back in the new year. So if you've got any questions, you can get in touch via Facebook and Instagram at Potty Plotters. You can email us naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk or check out the website pottyplotters.uk.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
This week it has been quite a busy week, hasn't it? We have been to the
has.
inner wheel.
What's
Yes,
that?
exactly.
Exactly. We didn't know.
And,
It's a wheel within a wheel.
It is. It's an inner wheel. And I thought it was very clever because it sort of connected the female side of the rotary.
Oh.
So a lot of ladies, I think, got fed up of their husbands going out and
Wow.
thought, well, we could do this. So
Yeah.
they have. And they did. And
Yeah.
we did. And
There's
we
a special
joined in.
handshakes and
Yeah.
everything.
No. Oh, it was all lovely.
Yeah, it
Cakes.
was.
Yeah, no.
But we did
no
have a
proper
pudding.
dinner.
What,
yeah.
what did you have?
Meringue. Oh,
Yeah,
meringue
with fresh fruits.
Oh, it was
and
lovely.
everything.
What about dinner?
I had salad. You
I
had
had salad. Yes, we were very
Yeah.
healthy,
Yeah.
weren't we?
Hello.
Yes,
But we
yes.
did have chips.
Oh, salad and chips.
Yes.
Chips and
Well,
salad.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and we went to the addiction clinic yesterday at Burton, didn't
Talking
we?
of chips.
Now,
Well,
when we
I mean,
talk
is this
about
something you want to tell us about?
Well, actually, we have been looking for a very specialised support service that supports ladies who like to build greenhouses. However, we've
Sounds very specialist.
yeah, so we've
Still
not,
looking then.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've not actually found a support group that supports those ladies, but we did go over to see our friends at Burton Addiction Clinic because they invited us over a while ago to
bet
have a
they
look
did.
at their community garden.
Yeah,
that
it was amazing.
And I mean, we were so impressed, and we've been so impressed with the stories that they've been sharing with us about people's recovery journeys. And we really enjoyed going and spending some time with them. And we actually gave them a little bit of money yesterday. When we go out and do talks, we get donations. And they were really short on seats in this community garden, weren't they? And we just thought it'd be nice to give them a little bit of support in purchasing their benches
Seats,
or
yeah.
whatever they want to create, really. So but it was a lovely day, and we actually went to their community cafe that is in the community.
Now we get back to tea cake.
Yeah.
They didn't sit you down and go in a circle and go, get you to introduce yourself, did
No.
they?
No.
Hello, I'm Elaine and I'm
No.
addicted to
It
greenhouses.
was a bit,
I mean, I hope you said greenhouses, not the word beginning with E.
Yeah.
No, we didn't mention erections at all, did we?
No.
But
That's
we
a
do like
totally
that.
different type of
addiction
addiction clinic you need to
it
go
was
to for that.
just lovely. And when we we've been to WI's as well. Went to a very lovely one this week. Oh my word! I tell you what, you want to have seen the cake display for that, Gareth.
Go on.
To the extent that I did take photographs. I've never done that before, but a whole table full of goodies.
We have a hard life, don't
You
we?
keep talking. You keep talking.
Oh,
I need
we
to
do,
go,
yeah.
I need to go on to. I need to find your photo of the cake for work.
The cake.
Yeah,
cake.
so
Oh,
we had a bit of a party for this leaving the building.
Yeah, you're
week.
talking about one cake. We're talking about
no.
cakes.
Oh no! Not one cake. Not one cake.
There was
Well,
lots.
anyway, we're incredibly lucky when we go out and do
Yes,
these
we are.
talks. We always get well looked after, don't we, Elaine?
Chocolate. There's always chocolate of some sort.
It's almost like they listen to you, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And it is all loveliness
Yeah.
itself. So it was nice to be able to help out somebody else for a change as well.
Yeah.
Although we do try that, don't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, it has been a very busy week on the garden
Yeah.
and on the allotments.
Yeah.
And we've come up, as we say today, it's been a really good week weather-wise.
Yeah.
And
But
you've really got cracking,
I
haven't you?
have, but since Gareth last came, we have had quite a severe frost, haven't we?
Yes.
And it is funny because we obviously love growing the dahlias and the flowers, and everything on our site got burnt by the frost. When we say burnt, the frost actually killed the tops of the dahlias and they all went black, and a lot of the other flowers went black. Now, we have friends and we work on community plots on other sites across the city, and they've not had any frost and they're still enjoying all their dahlias.
No damage at all.
No.
Funny, isn't it? Just a few miles away.
Exactly.
Oh.
So I'm not sure if you'll see this or not
No,
because I
no,
took it.
no, 'cause
I took it
it's
from
talking,
no,
Gareth.
as in you two will see it when I turn
right.
the phone around. But this is from the wrong angle. I thought I'd taken some other pictures of it, but there we had a 3 or 4 tier cake which was iced and decorated in kind of what we do. So for those of you who don't know, I work for the AA, not the one where you need an addiction.
Say that.
Not the one where you need an addiction, but the one where you phone us if your car breaks down. So we had a bit of a cake that was laid out with like tools and stuff decorated on,
right.
and then there was a display of cupcakes.
Ooh.
Oh, that's it then, isn't it?
So does
How many did you take?
I didn't get any of them. They were
Gareth.
literally the most popular thing there.
I thought you were going to produce one then.
People were being told to put them back.
No.
Because they weren't allowed to take them until after the toast, which was roughly about the same time the building was toast.
We've never had that when we've been out on the talk, have they? They always say, help yourself and help yourself
Yeah.
to some more and help yourself to
Yeah.
more. And if you want to take some home with you, take some
Take
home.
some
with
home.
you. So we're incredibly
we need
lucky
to
with that.
change
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Contact the Potty Plotters anytime on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Potty Plotters, or email naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk.
Well, anyway, moving on from cake. Well, shall we move on from cake or shall we go straight to recipes instead?
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about your dahlias and the cat litter.
I did.
Why don't we do what they call in the profession a bit of a
flip.
handbrake turn, and we'll move the dahlias to after the recipes.
Okay, let's
We don't
go.
have to do it as in the order.
Love
The
it.
running order may be there, but we'll just.
Okay, yeah. it's a
Handbrake,
different-
because he'd got his
AA
ultimate.
thing in his head.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah. Right.
So recipes, Julia. I asked you what your favourite recipe was, or could be. Flipping heck, she's brought cards.
Well, I bought-
laminated
I bought
cards.
2
of
of them.
that.
So when I make a cake,
Yes.
or I've been given a recipe and then I
Yeah.
kind of adapt it and I get it to the point where I like it.
Yeah.
I have a laminator and I like to print it out and laminate it. And I'll tell you why I
Doesn't sound
laminate
right,
it.
does it? Yeah, go on.
I tell you why I
Because
laminate
of your hands.
No, because I'm quite messy and I splodge all bits all over the recipe
See, I understand.
card
I
and
get that because I don't have a laminator, but I have a folder with those like pockets in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we road test recipes that we maybe, I don't know, you see in magazines or whatever and go, oh yeah, we quite like that, and keep it. I scan it as well, so I've got a copy of it on the computer just in case it happens to grow legs and walk.
don't do that.
Well, I don't have a laminator, so
Yeah, but
Julia
this is
has-
perfect. So when I drop things on it, I can just wipe it clean afterwards and put it back in my folder. So you asked me for my favourite recipe.
Yes.
And of course, all my favourite recipes involve cake.
obviously.
And I know you were expecting me to come up with like an evening meal or something like that. No, Elaine, I'm talking about cake.
Well, in that case, maybe we need to move the order of who does what in the recipe so that Julia does the dessert, as in the cake.
Oh, yeah, the cake.
What's yours?
Okay, well, mine's jam.
for the cake.
For the cake. So what's yours?
I can probably provide the main course.
Oh, come on then.
So is our friend Lisa, would we say her thing is probably a bit of a starter or a main?
Course.
Main
So we've got two mains. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all right. You need
don't mind,
you need an alternative,
Yeah.
don't you?
Okay. Well, most of mine you can grow on the allotment.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit that you have to add in for obvious reasons, unless you just happen to have wildlife on your allotment and you're a butcher. Chicken.
Oh, right.
Okay. So, not that sort of wildlife.
No.
So, I don't know if you remember, there was a programme on the telly where they basically look at what you buy in the supermarket and then tell you how to adapt your diet. It was Greg Wallace, I think, used to do it years ago, and they'd bring a dietitian on, and it was to try and introduce. Part of where we found this recipe was they were trying to introduce more veg into a family's diet and hiding it in things.
Oh, right. Oh, we're good at that.
Yeah. So I was going to do the Mediterranean veg again, but I think we've done that one
love it
today.
though, Gareth.
We're having it this week,
Fabulous,
but this is for egg fried rice.
Oh.
Yeah. You see, I've perked your interest up now, haven't I?
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, we're going to do this on the day before this podcast goes out because we use the leftover roast chicken for it as well.
Oh, right.
So it has in it spring onions, peppers, mushrooms, courgettes, carrots, peas. So it gets you a whole stack of veg in there.
Yeah.
And you can put broccoli in as well if you really want to try a bit of broccoli in it. So in effect, everything that's grown on the site, and you just need to add in rice. If you want chicken to add to it, you can, and then you need to put 3 eggs with it, and 3 beaten eggs and some soy sauce, and there you go. So basically,
tell us what to do.
So
That sounds like Jimmy Young. You too young for that.
I do know who Jimmy Young is.
Oh yeah, but when he used to do.
What's the recipe
Tell us
today?
Jim?
Yeah. So you chop all your veg up into similar sized pieces. So you start off with, I tend to start off with the spring onion and the mushrooms together, and then the carrots and the courgette together because they're similar size type of vegetable, and the peppers together. So you chop them into very small bite-sized pieces because you want them to all cook at a similar rate. Pre-cook your rice so it's ready to go. So just do it before you start. So have it ready.
Just ordinary
just ordinary rice. Ordinary rice. You could probably chuck in one of those pouches if you're feeling particularly lazy. But I start the rice whilst I'm chopping the veg. Then in a wok, heat a little bit of oil. Throw in the mushroom and the spring onion first. Cook it for a couple of minutes. Then throw in the peppers. Cook them for a couple of minutes more. Then add in the carrots and the courgette and the broccoli for using it. Cook that for a little bit longer. If you've got broccoli, chuck in about 50 ml of water so it steams it as well. And throw in the pre-cooked chicken as well to reheat that through. Keep stirring it around in the wok. I'm starting to sound like I know what I'm talking about here.
You do? We're thinking,
Once you're happy with the consistency of the veg, then throw in your rice and reheat that through. Then put in a handful of frozen peas and season it as well with some salt and pepper. And then when you're happy with the consistency of the veg and the fact that it's cooked to how you want it, add 3 beaten eggs with about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce in. And you're basically moving it around a bit like an omelette, so you're trying to get it so it goes to that consistency, so it wraps around the entire thing, so it doesn't set at any point. Cook it until you're happy with how the egg is, and then serve it. And there you go. There's your Cheats Chinese takeaway.
So you put the beaten eggs, over the top of all the veg and the chicken and everything,
and
it binds it all together.
Yeah, bind it through. So you don't let it form an omelette on the bottom, but just keep mixing it around the wok until you've got the consistency around it and it's not all congealed in one place. So it's basically wrapped itself around everything that's in there, and it makes a ton.
I could eat that cold as well.
That's made me hungry.
Yeah.
So obviously for you wouldn't have the chicken bit.
No, I would not.
No, but everything else.
Yeah.
So we nicked that off a TV programme and we've been doing it for years now.
Well, that's okay.
And I suppose you can just pick and choose which veg you put in.
Yeah, broccoli can be quite fiddly because you have to cut it up into very tiny pieces. So we depend on how much time I've got. I might leave the broccoli out. and depends on what else is available in the supermarkets as well.
That'd be good for people with different dietary requirements as well, wouldn't it? Because you could alter the rice accordingly.
Yeah.
It sounds very healthy.
Yeah, which you were surprised about looking at you.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not eating
We're
that.
not going
It's got no cake in it, has it?
No. Shall I go to Lisa's recipe?
Now we know Lisa, don't we, from Nottingham?
Yes.
And she sent us her recipe.
And she sent us a lovely
loves it.
picture. Yeah, and actually she sent it to us because we went over and we gave her loads and loads of tomatoes. And she obviously thought, what am I going to do with all of these? So she said...
Soup.
No.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
I did soup with mine.
I did soup with mine.
So did I. I've still got some in the freezer.
But she said, the other night I roasted your tomatoes with wasabi.
Wasan.
Wasan.
That French.
Yes, soft
Wasan.
cheese.
Yeah.
Is that one
with
you used to
bits
see
in.
advertised when they were when mineral water was starting to become quite popular, and you used to sort of around the late 80s, early 90s? Wasan.
Yeah, there was an advert.
Yeah.
Because you can get it with garlic, pepper,
Herbs,
chilies, all kinds of things.
Yeah, well,
in it.
she roasted her tomatoes with that and balsamic vinegar, olive oil, salt, pepper, mixed herbs and chili flakes, and then stirred it all up until it was a sauce, and then served it with pasta, which she just obviously stirred through, and I suppose it could be any shape pasta, whatever shape you like, and with some garlic bread. And she said it was delicious. So
And
that
so
sounds
she
dead
just
easy.
sort of roasted it all together.
Literally.
That's a good idea with that cheese, isn't it? How clever is that?
Yeah, she's quite clever though, isn't Lisa, isn't she? So, but it did look yummy, and we were all salivating when she showed
Do you
us the
need
pictures.
something like that? You'd need quite a lot of tomatoes. It's something you probably
Oh,
do.
yeah.
You probably do sort of towards the end of the season, wouldn't you? Is
A
it
whole
when you've got
array
a
of
glut
them.
of them?
Yeah.
Because I found when I was doing the soup that you kind of. You think you've got enough, and then because it's kind of going down and down and down, you end up just chucking tons in and going, wish I got some more here.
Yeah, it is funny, isn't it? It's the same when you're doing caramelised onion chutney.
Yeah.
You start off with a great big cauldron of sliced onions, and before you know it, you've got a few ounces of it in the bottom. It's all disappeared. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. That sounds scrumptious though, doesn't it?
Right, tell us about your jam then.
Okay, well, I think that we always get such a lot of fruit, and a lot of people never get this right. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about raspberry jam and things that you need to do when you're making jam. Now then, the first point is always make sure that you've got a very big cauldron, jam pan, something similar. And all you literally need, I'll tell you a funny story about that as well in a minute, is raspberries and sugar. Granulated sugar. Forget all that stuff that's got pectin in it that you pay a fortune for. We are talking bog standard, cheapest granulated white sugar.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what you need. Now then, what I was going to tell you was the other day I actually caught my husband looking at the back of a pot of jam.
Yes.
We'd had it for some while, and he was reading the ingredients, and he was shocked as to what was in
What jam? What you hadn't
that
made?
that had been bought. And he
Sorry,
was
I'm
looking
more
at it
shocked
all.
you've been buying jam.
No,
Yeah.
it was a long time
Okay.
ago. And there it was. And it was quite funny, really, that for the first time he said, look at all this that's in here. He said, you haven't got that in yours, have you?
It's the preservatives, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, loads of them.
But you shouldn't need to,
you
because
shouldn't.
jam's
Jam
like...
is, yeah, and the fact that you've got sugar, it is preserving the fruit.
And as long as it's sealed properly. it'll
Yeah,
keep
and dealt with
Yeah,
properly.
yeah.
So what I'm going to say is I always work on a £4 basis. I know that I'm not metric, but that's my age. So all I do is I weigh out 4 pounds of raspberries. Right, all I do literally is sieve them. I wash them, in other words, in the colander, and then straight into the... You see, I was doing it there. Did you notice?
Yes.
Straight from one to
Only
the other.
we had a kitchen.
Yeah, if only. And then it goes into the cauldron. Having got 4 pounds, what you do then is you very slowly heat them up. Now, when you slowly heat them, what happens is they disintegrate. The raspberries just absolutely dissolve.
Yeah.
That's how it works. When you've hit that, all you do is you whack up the heat, and then you put in 4 pounds, believe it or not, of sugar. Now then, Gareth
There's
is
dentists
now
out there going...
horrified.
There are dentists out there going,
is,
what
but
are you
you're not-
doing,
yeah,
woman?
but
You know there are
Eat
dentists
lot.
out there saying,
Rubbing their hands with glee.
Yes, sure.
She's another one for me. But if you bear in mind, you're not eating loads of it.
No.
Even when you make a cake, you're only having really a smattering, aren't you? Considering you're not even having a jar of it. So
I'd hope not at £4.
No, £4. It sounds a lot, but that will make about 20 jars.
Oh.
So it's all then.
Is this scalable? Because 20 jars of jam is a lot. I don't think the normal person gets through that many
in a year.
Gareth,
because if you work it proportion, if it is that you haven't got 4 pounds of raspberries, you go to 1, and if you use 1, then you use 1 pound.
So it's
of
1
sugar,
to 1.
and that's how it is, yeah. And then you get to a rolling boil, that's what it's called, and that's when the heat is obviously very, very hot, and this is where you have to be careful, which is why we've never done it here, because unless you can control the heat, that's when your jam will burn. So you have to be really careful, and then all you do is you then boil it, and you are boiling it for about 10 minutes, and that is when the contents will come almost over the top of the pan, but it comes right the way up. You boil it for 10 minutes, and then you do the setting test. And the setting test, all that you do is you get a tablespoon, I do anyway, a tablespoon of the jam out, and I put it on a cold saucer and leave it for a few minutes and watch what happens.
Do you put your saucer in the fridge?
I do sometimes, but not all the times, no, because
depends whether you've had the heating on.
Yeah, that's right. So we've had a fridge in our house.
So not at the moment, then.
No. But then, if you leave it for a few minutes to cool and then push it, and then if it forms like a skin, you'll see like a wrinkle test. Good job we don't do it. Anyway, you get the wrinkle test, and if it wrinkles, it means that it's ready. And then with your sterilised hot jam jars, pour it in up to the collar, so up to the top, and then very carefully screw the top on. And it's always a bit of a competition as to whether you'll ever get the top back off again. Yeah, the heat seals it, and that's it. So all people who insist on putting wax tops and all this palaver, forget it. You don't need it. The very nature of you having hot jars, hot lids, hot everything, seals everything.
The Potty Plotters Plotcast, with simple recipes for gluts and guts.
Cake, well, of course, this is going out. When's it going out, Gareth?
It's going out the day before
30th.
Halloween.
Well, that's perfect, because my recipe is my spiced pumpkin cake. Now, I love this recipe, not only because I love pumpkins, but also, you know, you're going to make use of it. And I love carrot cake, but this tastes very like carrot cake, but without the faff of grating the carrots.
It is quite funny, actually, because now you've said a spiced pumpkin cake, I have a vision of a pumpkin sort of between two pieces of cake.
Pumpkin jam.
And this is a really popular
cake jammed in pumpkin.
This is a really popular one I get asked to do quite a lot. And,
It's because it's scrumptious.
and you can either do it as a whole cake, like a big round cake, or you can do it as in like muffin cases and make individual ones. It depends what you want.
Can you freeze them?
Yes, you can. So it's win-win. Her again.
She gets around that win.
Winifred gets around a lot, doesn't
But
she?
of course, we've all got pumpkins at this time of year. You can even do this with butternut squash, because as long as the pumpkin is quite a solid flesh, like a squash, like a butternut squash, it works exactly the same. And all you do to start off with is I roast my pumpkins in the oven. So literally chop them in half, wash the outsides, chop them in half, and then de-seed them, and then pop them in the oven with some on a tray, and pop some tinfoil over the top, and just roast them. And then when you fetch them out the oven, you can literally scoop the insides out. You're no faffing. You've not got to peel You've not got to peel the pumpkin or the squash. And I mean, you can eat the skins of them, and I quite like it. But I like a bit of roughage. Roughage, not rough. I like a bit of roughage. So, having done that, of course.
You two okay?
Of course, then you've got your
Can't imagine chewing on a pumpkin seed on a skin.
It's lovely.
Right, yeah.
I'm sure people who are listening have done this and probably agree with me. I'm not the only one
Right in
doing
if you
this.
have.
I'm not the only one doing this.
I'm just waiting for that flood of emails to come in now.
So in doing that, you just scoop the flesh out, and of course that. You can get your potato masher, but it's pretty mushed up to start off with. So all you want to do is create pureed pumpkin, and you can create.
That's what I thought I saw a fly.
Oh, it's a mouse.
Oh.
No.
It's a mouse.
it is, yeah.
Oh,
It's a big fly.
It's a tiny mouse.
Oh, he is.
Oh.
Well, who'd have believed that? Where did it come from?
Maybe it's the talk of food.
Yes, it could have been. Yeah. So
Where did it come from? Where did it go? You were talking about your cake,
Yeah,
and then
so-
you saw a mouse.
Yeah.
So once you've got your pureed pumpkin, I mean, actually, if you've got loads spare, you can use that in a mash. I like to
Yeah, I
mix
was
my
thinking that,
pumpkin
yeah.
with mashed potato, and then if I'm making a shepherd's pie, use it. And
She's
that-
going
the
really
top.
off cake
I am
piece with
going
this,
off
isn't
cake
she?
piece.
I'm loving that
But-
sound.
But
How do you use your pumpkin?
Yeah.
for this recipe,
Could have done that, couldn't we, really?
for this recipe, you need 350 grams of pureed pumpkin. So
Is that quite a lot?
no, it's not that much. No,
Don't
you'll
look
get
at me, I haven't got
you'll
a
get
clue.
low. If you have just a standard pumpkin, half of it, that'll be plenty.
Okay, so
So-
half a pumpkin.
Half a pumpkin, yeah, and then you need 220 grams of stalk or any other margarine you want to use, 440 grams of light brown sugar. Don't be alarmed at that. 300 grams of plain flour, 4 eggs, which you beat. We need the 350 grams of pureed pumpkin, 100 grams of walnut pieces, and 50 grams of sultanas. Which, of course, when you think about those contents, they are very similar to what you would use in a carrot cake.
Yeah.
And then you have a teaspoon of bicarb soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then basically preheat your oven to about 180 degrees, gas mark 4, and then you can get a baking tin if you want, a kind of round.
Well, it's going to be hard. If you don't use a baking tin,
It's going to be
I'll tell
messy.
you
To
what.
be fair, it's
This is going to be interesting. If you want to have a baking tin.
if you want to have a baking tin, if you don't, then have a divorce instead.
Well, if you don't want a baking tin, just get the muffin cases out.
Oh, that's
what I
where
was
we're
going to
going with
say.
that. All right.
So,
Okay.
I mean, the muffins are quite quick and easier to handle.
Yeah,
so
they
let's
are.
go down the muffin route. But you can.
Elaine, ever feel like you've lost control of something?
So you get.
Mice and muffins. Anybody else?
So you've got your cake batter.
You've got your cake batter, and all you
Yeah.
do is you get your large mixing bowl and mix your margarine and sugar until it's light and fluffy, and then you add your pumpkin puree
I'm going to
and
impress you
your
at this
vanilla
point.
extract.
So you mix your margarine and sugar till you've got it, till it's creamed. You cream them together.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So you-
right.
so-
Look at you.
I don't watch the
MasterChef.
Great
Yeah.
British Bake Off. I used to
He
bake.
does.
I used to bake.
But then you add your pumpkin puree, your
Yeah.
vanilla extract, and in a separate bowl, keep all of your dried ingredients,
Oh,
the
right,
rest of the
okay.
ingredients. And then you just alternate your dried ingredients with your eggs and mix them all together. So a bit of your eggs mixed together, and then a bit of your dried ingredients, and then you mix it all together. And then if we're going down the muffin tin route, if we're going to do muffins,
Do you know the
oh yeah,
muffin now?
and at the end add your walnuts and sultanas, and then get your muffins. Stop laughing at me.
You know, I wish we'd filmed this. Simply because Julia keeps moving around from right to left into the centre. and
I'm
it's all
amazed.
like
I'm amazed she hasn't
this
got
and put
done
it
the
there.
British Sign Language for food processing by now.
And then all you do is you
She's
fill
doing
up,
it still.
you fill up your muffin cases nearly to the top,
Yeah.
and then pop them in the oven for about 18 minutes for your muffin case.
About 18 minutes.
Well, it depends on your oven.
You're doing the sponge test.
Yeah.
If it springs back.
It,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
What
if
about
you-
for your cake?
If you were doing it in a cake tin, what do they come as? 8-inch cake
8-inch.
cake tins. If you're doing it, and they're about 2.5.
Are you doing
Inches
one
deep.
or two? 2 8-inch cakes.
Are you doing a round cake?
I'm doing a round cake, a deep round cake.
A deep round cake.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then, yeah.
So they
that's
come
quite
about
deep
3
then.
inches, don't
Yeah,
they?
it is, yeah.
And then if you were doing that method, then you pop it in the oven for about 40
Ooh, yeah.
to 45
and
minutes.
Keep sticking a skewer in it
a
to
skewer.
test.
Yeah, make sure you've got your
Yeah.
skewer
And if
out.
it comes out clean,
Yeah.
It's done.
And
It is.
And it depends how you are, really. You could add some cream cheese frosting on the top if you wanted to, but you know,
yeah.
it doesn't need it. It's quite a moist cake.
Yeah, you've never put that on when you're giving it us.
No.
Maybe she has at home.
Yes.
Feeling left out
Proper
now.
people. Yeah.
The Potty Plotters Plotcast with simple recipes for gluts and guts.
Back to the gardening bit, which is the one thing we do know
Well, I was thinking that we ought to talk about soil, actually.
Oh, right.
And the reason that I wanted to talk about it was because I am concerned that we've had such a lot of water. I mean, we have now as well.
Yeah.
But we've had such a lot of water that the nutrients would probably, by now, have been washed away. Never mind the soil, the nutrients within it. So I thought we ought to tell people about it, because not everybody will think the way that we do.
Well, it's not only the fact that we've had the floodings and therefore we potentially lost the nutrients, but every year you should look at adding something back into your soil, because of course you are taking it out. As you are growing things, you are taking out the nutrients from the soil. And you know, traditionally if people followed crop rotation, then certain families of plants will then improve the ground for the next group. But you, at some point in that rotation system, you are putting the nutrients back in the soil by adding manure or anything else, compost wise, something like that you would add back into the soil. So what are you going to do with yours, Elaine?
Well, there's a couple of things really. I thought we'd get some bags of farmyard manure as well, so that when we take the tops off the dahlias, we can cover this time with farmyard manure.
There's a difference between farmyard and the stuff you get from the horseman.
The stuff that we get from the horseman, we need to keep it for a year, Gareth, so that it melts down.
Unfortunately, we were commenting actually, I think because of the weather this year, things haven't rotted down at the same rate, so neither of us really feel that the horse manure is probably rotted enough to be putting on the top. So we're going to leave that for another season, I think, and we are going to invest in some bagged farmyard manure. It is more expensive. It is a more expensive route to go down, although obviously you can see some deals in some of the shops out there, but it is easier for you to manage as well sometimes.
Yeah, so we thought that we'd do that and pop that all over the top, and of course you won't get any weeds from that manure, whereas the likelihood is if you put the horse muck out at the minute,
straight away.
We will get weeds. So we're cutting that bit out. But also I've seen loads of buckets of chicken pellets at the moment on sale. So I thought we ought to go and get a load of those as well, because that's always an interesting one, isn't it, to use around the strawberries and so forth that are growing over the winter, just to give them a little bit of a boost.
If we put the stuff on now though, if we get a flooding, won't it just wash it away again?
Yes. Did you want me to say no? No. But it'll wash the soil away again as well, won't it? Yeah. So it's just trying to build the nutrients. I don't think there's a right and a wrong time, because we've had water for months.
Yeah. So, and if you put it on the top, of course, the worms will come and take it down rather than adding it deeper into the soil.
So that's all I thought that we ought to be telling people. And if you have got a site, and we do loads of work on different sites where they don't have any flooding problems, whack that manure on, particularly if it's well rotted. Wish we'd got some, but we haven't.
The Plotcast podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Right then, Julia.
Yes.
It's a little bit of an experiment. You're involved in it, and I'm very grateful for what you brought.
Yes.
Now then, not everybody has got a bag of cat litter.
No, but I've got a bag of cat litter that you can have, because my cats are quite fussy and didn't particularly like this brand. And
I know. Yeah, when she was saying it, I thought, what?
Well, they get that way, you know.
Do they?
Yeah.
How have you bred such...
Anyway,
princess cats.
Anyway,
I'm not touching that cat litter. It's going to scratch my little behind.
Anyway, Elaine said to me, "Have you got any cat litter?" And I said, "Yes." Unfortunately, I'd got the right kind of cat litter for you, because
it's not any cat litter.
No, it's not any cat litter.
Marks and Spencer's do cat litter.
No,
probably.
Most importantly, it is non-clumping cat litter, because you can get different for for different reasons.
It's not the gravel version, is it?
Well, it is a gravel version, but it's non-clumping. So sometimes, it's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Right.
If you need an explanation, write in and I'll send you an explanation. It's like wildlife on this plot today.
There's a dog walking up now.
I'll tell you there's a mouse
for
somewhere.
goodness sake. Anyway, so it looks like we've got Kev plot too. Everybody's up here today. It's a funny old time. Right.
So what are you going to do with the cat?
Don't tail on me, Rosie.
Yeah, Rosie dog has now arrived and
is attacking me with her tail.
Yes, I'm not making that licking noise. It's Rosie.
So all that I would say is,
we don't need a dog. We need a cat. We've got a mouse.
No, but what we've been doing, Gareth, is we've been digging up the dahlias.
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you have a look over there, look, in the greenhouse, can you see some?
Yeah.
And, Julia, you've moved it from out of the...
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Well, anyway, so what I've done is I've dug 4 up at home and I've been drying them.
Ah, now I see where it's... Now I see,
Yeah. And then it came to me and I thought, you are a silly moo. Why don't I dry it or finish drying the tubers? Because they're massive now, about that big. What's that?
Massive.
About,
it's
about
bigger
8
than a
inches.
football.
Yeah. And I just thought, why don't I turn it upside down like a lot of people do, and they've always done it since time immemorial. Turn it upside down, but then put it in like a bucket or box of cat litter.
How's it going?
Right, I haven't done it yet.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to.
I thought we were having an update on it.
No, because I am going to. And so what I've done is, what I've tried to do is dry the tubers completely. And it's the first time, I think, successfully I've done it. Obviously, I'll have a divorce very shortly. But
well, he's got plenty of tubers he can take from you, hasn't he?
Yeah. But honestly, they've worked really, really well at the moment. So I thought, right, Julia then gave me the cat litter and I thought, that's it. Now, the question I've got in my own head is, should I then keep the box in the house?
Probably not.
Or in the shed or the garage? Not up here because it gets too cold here.
Yeah. Is it frost-free in the garage?
Yes.
I'll put them in the garage if I
Okay.
It might help. It might help the marriage situation.
Yeah.
You can't
We don't have a cat yet.
Conservatory.
We don't have a cat yet. We appear to have some cat litter.
The news is breaking. Okay, then. So that's what I'm going to do. And then next year, when we're on Series 3, Season 3, obviously, then we'll be able to talk about whether they worked or not.
Ooh, planning.
Top-notch advice, no Latin included. The Potty Plotters Plotcast.
Right, Elaine. Well,
why have you...
Well, I've got a cucumber.
It's not a
cucumber, Gareth. It's not a cucumber. And if you look at the list of things we were going to talk about today, we wanted to talk about loofah plants, because Elaine's a bit obsessed, and earlier in the year she gave me a loofah plant and told me to stick it in the polytunnel, which
Is that what you actually said? Stick it somewhere.
And so, because I am a lot smaller than her, I actually
Followed instructions.
followed the instructions, and I did that, and I've got loofahs growing off the loofah plant. However, unfortunately, when we had the frost on site, it seemed to have got into the polytunnel and killed the loofah plant. It literally is as dead as a dodo.
Yes.
But unfortunately, Elaine, look, I've got green loofahs, and that's not what I'm meant to have, is it?
No, because what they should do is, if we'd had a very long summer and a warm summer, they would have dried. Now, when they dry, no, they're not driving. No, back to the AA. So when they dry, they go a dark brown to black. So another idea, see, I don't sleep well at night, and what I do is I think of things. Yes. And what I was thinking, Gareth, was...
Can you phone Bill and suggest a small hammer? She might sleep then.
No, I'm going to put it in the oven.
Okay.
Ooh, you
Very low temperature.
for me.
Well, I'm not going to roast it.
No.
I thought I would dry it.
See if you could dry it in the oven,
and see if it goes dark brown to black.
Yeah, because I have had a few off the plant, and I think I've got about 6 at home of these now, and I've popped them in the conservatory hoping that they will turn in there. But
you've got to have some heat though, Julia, because that is quite spongy, isn't it, when you touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It feels like a cucumber that's been in the fridge too long.
Yeah, that's it.
And the thing is that I haven't got an oven at the moment because it broke when I was doing my cooking last week.
Was it roughly at the same time you were doing your spiced pumpkin cake?
You know, there are times when we've done a podcast you think, why don't we just stop it now? Stop it, because this is deteriorating, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think this is probably, short of when Mrs. Green arrives and creates mayhem, this is probably the one I've had the least control over out of all 90 that we've done.
So yes. So whilst you gave me the plant and said stick it in my polytunnel, I'm going to give you this.
Can you just not put a pause at certain points of sentences, please?
This green loofah, which actually is the size of a good-sized cucumber, I have to say.
Which is why. So actually, had I not read the script,
you
would think it was a cucumber.
Yeah,
it looks like it.
It is the size of a cucumber. It's about 30 inches.
It's not. It's about 30 inches. 30 inches.
30 inches.
It's a metre-long cucumber. That's a prize-winning cucumber. That is.
You would have to chop it in half to put it in your oven.
It's about.
I'd never get it in the car.
About 30 centimetres.
To us today. Yeah.
What was in that tea?
I don't know.
30 centimetres, 12 inches.
Yes, it is.
Can you stick it in your oven for me?
I can stick it. Leave it with me and we'll give you an update as to what happened. If I'm in hospital, come and see me, won't you? Exploding loofah.
So, how did you get this injury? Well, you see, I've got this loofah and I put it in the oven as an experiment. It just went wrong from there.
Yeah.
Right,
what are you doing the rest of the day then?
Just putting that in her oven.
Yeah.
Yeah, sitting watching it.
Well, I've been very fortunate. We did just have Kev Plot 2 pop up the path, and he has got a load of sand in his trailer that he wants shifting.
Oh. And he'd like you to offload his sand for him.
He would, yeah. And that is perfect timing because I am creating some very raised beds for growing carrots next year, and I do want a load of sand. So rather opportune. I'm in his trailer this afternoon.
Well, I got a load of mulch, I can tell you, and I piled it onto my half plot, so I need to now top up my path. So what are you doing, Gareth?
I'm editing this.
Well, good luck.
I think it needs a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just go for it. And next time...
Particularly sharp razor blade coming up.
Yes. And next week we'll be talking about something
loofah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be talking about how we've gone on with our loofah.
Yeah.
And...
Which is the last in the season next
so
time.
what else are we doing, I suppose? That's what
Well, I
we'll
think
talk
we might
about.
need to look at whether we need to prune things in the garden.
Okay.
Perhaps over the winter, in preparation for the winter months,
So, well, we'll talk about something. Well, something to talk about. Oh, and we've got to talk about chard as well.
Oh.
That stuff. Right then. See you
You're
then.
fondling that.
I am, yeah. Well, I'm
a lot,
fascinated.
yeah.
Thank God it wanted 30 inches.
The Plotcast podcast with the Potty Plotters is an Amberland Media production.